The journey I've had from going from a 17-year-old high school kid a year ago who was extremely worried about his future to now a year later, now 18 years old, running an agency, making over 30k a month, living a life a bit like this. Yeah guys, hope you enjoyed a little compilation of my time out in Dubai and also London. My name is Qasim Ackrim. I'm an 18-year-old entrepreneur from the UK. I'm just going to kind of introduce myself properly, kind of just talk about myself, my story. This video is going to be just me covering my journey, talking about myself. So before we get into that, make sure you go drop a like, subscribe, because there's going to be a lot of content coming soon. I'll also touch on at the end of the video kind of the content you should expect, kind of what I'll be doing with this YouTube channel, what it kind of is. To kind of start off the story, it kind of started, I could say last start of last year, which was January. I was in high school. I still am in high school. Sadly, it's April right now in 2021, but last year, so January 2020 was a time in second last year of high school where we kind of had to decide on our career paths. In a way, we kind of had to decide what we wanted to do in university, kind of higher subjects we were taking to get into university. Throughout the whole time of school, I chose computing as a thing I wanted to do, and it was not for the reason that I liked computing. I actually kind of hated it. It was extremely boring for me. Sorry for you guys who actually take computing and enjoy it, but I knew that it was where the money was going to be, and I knew that if this was the field that I wanted to go, that I could go into and you know, make a lot of money. Because I'm not gonna lie, the main motivator for me from since I was like a teenage kid, like 15, has always been to kind of take my family out of the financial struggle that they were in. I wouldn't say we were poor, because my parents did very well to kind of shield me from the struggle that they had financially. But I started to realise, you know, we've lost our house, lost our main like family house. We also like had to move multiple times. Even though I had a good life, I was in a good school, my parents were doing very well for me. I kind of started to understand that my family weren't in the best financial situation, and I wanted to be the one in my family, out of my siblings, my two sisters, that kind of saved our family from that struggle and kind of took us out of that and gave us the life that we wanted. So that was the main motivator for me, the biggest thing for me. It wasn't I had a passion for any certain thing, it was just that I really wanted to find a way that could give me the ability to like give my family a better life. I thought computing was that, and I did what I needed to do to get into a good job in computing, and actually got a really good job in computing. I applied to a job at a big bank called Barclays, got a job there as a software developer. So it was the kind of thing where they paid you, I think it was 19 grand a year, 20 grand a year to go through university and also work with them. By the end of it, you'd have like a secure job there. So that was probably the best thing I could have done if I wanted to go down that route. But then I started to talk to the people that were there, working there for like multiple like 15, 20 years, and I started to ask them about their day-to-day, kind of how their career is, what they do in their jobs, and it was the complete opposite of what I dreamed it would be. At that time, when I realised this, I was in a really bad mental state. I wouldn't say I was depressed, but I was wasting my time on YouTube watching stupid videos of like FIFA or something like that, playing Xbox all day. So yeah, I was in a really, really bad mental state. Kind of like a month after that, going through that kind of period of doing nothing, I started to really have this motivation to want to start a business. I started seeing people that were successful in business, and I wanted to be like them. I wanted to be a millionaire. I started to search up on YouTube and Instagram. Like if you go on my YouTube and Instagram, it was just covered with like all it was. My suggested videos was just how to be a millionaire, how to make money. So I spent a long time just like watching videos every single day, non-stop. This was during lockdown, just watching videos non-stop. And then eventually, I think a month after, say less than a month, I started getting hit with this ad, and it was the classic ad: 17-year-old high school dropout with money, cars and girls on holiday with a six-pack. It was like really like so appealing to me. Like it's literally like a perfect grab for any 17-year-old who was in high school, watching like multiple hours a day of YouTube. So I'm skipping that video maybe like 20 times a day. But then a couple of times I just decided to watch it. I decided to watch the whole thing. Dropping out of high school after starting in SMMA, making 10k a month, being having six-figure years, all this kind of stuff. And it started to get me really intrigued. At that time, I was also looking into other business models. I was looking into dropshipping, Amazon FBA, all this kind of stuff. But none of that ever resonated with me. I would never be proud to say that I sell. The way I make my money is I sell Chinese products to people. You know, even though you can make money out of it, for me it's not really a business that I really want to tell people I run. And I wanted to start a business. I wanted to be respected. I wanted to be a respected business owner. That was another big thing. So yeah, none of those business models kind of did that for me. But this SMMA, really stuck with me. So I started to watch into it. I started to spend my time every day watching SMMA videos instead of like random business videos. And then I started to show to my friends, my family, my dad, my mum. I started to show them, this is really cool. It's like, what do you think? And they just say it's a scam, it's rubbish. How can a 17-year-old get paid? How would a business owner trust a 17-year-old? But for me, when I started to understand the business model, you're providing a service that you're not actually providing, and you're just working with the business, you get paid a set monthly fee in exchange for somebody else doing the work. I was like, this is perfect, this is amazing. So I really wanted to start it. So that ad was selling a course, of course. It was selling a course that was $997, and I really wanted to join it. Really, I had my heart set out to join that course. But I had absolutely no money, like 50 quid in the bank account from like my birthday the last year or something along those lines. I had no money whatsoever, so there's no way of me paying for it. So I begged my parents for a solid 2-3 weeks, and this was also a period when my mental state went to complete rubbish. I was arguing with my parents non-stop. For them, I can't blame them for the way they did what they did. So they were obviously very hesitant to give me any money to join a course like this. They were saying, because obviously in their era, when they were like 20, 30, in their working times, obviously everything that was out there at that time, all these seminars and around real estate seminars or courses, or it was just all scam artists, con artists, and salespeople. So I completely understand where my dad was coming from. He said that I'm not giving you money for this course because it's just going to be a scam, and it was really hard for me to portray the fact that this is not a scam and this is actually something that I can really want to do. But yeah, at the end I didn't get the money for that course. I just continued. That didn't stop me either. I kind of just kept looking into it. Didn't stop me trying this business. So I kept looking at everything on YouTube, kept watching it non-stop for another few weeks, and then I came across my first mentor. My first mentor was a guy called 𝐼𝐬𝐻, a guy that I can call a brother to this day. I managed to convince my parents to give me the money that I needed for that mentorship. This was around April time, so I'm lucky that they actually gave me an opportunity to be mentored by 𝐼𝐬𝐻. That lasted around a month or a bit, like 5 weeks I'd say. April to the start of May. So that was perfect. It was literally, at the time, was the best 5-6 hours I spent with anybody. I learned everything I needed to learn about how to start this business and how to get to a really good point. I'd say after that mentorship, from May till end of July, kind of start of August, I did literally nothing. Not one good thing towards starting the business. I was spending my time worrying about the website, and it was just a huge waste of time. August, one of my best friends right now, 𝐅𝐸𝐴𝐺, he released back then a ebook. So that ebook was just just the kind of everything you need to start an SMMA. And I had to actually ask my dad for that money too. It was like £15, but I still had to ask my dad for that money. So he had a community to go with that. He had weekly calls. So on those weekly calls, I'd jump on, you'd introduce yourself and how your journey was going. And I'd be a huge pessimist. I'd always say nothing is working for me. I'm not going to accomplish my goals. I can't get it. I had this goal of hitting 10k a month by my birthday, which was December. I had this huge, that was my big goal. I wanted to hit 10k a month. At the time, I was a huge pessimist. I'd always think negatively. I'd always get angry. I'd attach emotion to everything. Having these weekly calls and these people that actually know my story, and especially at the time, 𝐅𝐸𝐴𝐺 was like a guy I looked up to so much, because he was exactly in the spot I would want to be at, and he was only like a few years older than me. So I had this guy who was telling me, yeah, you're gonna hit 10k a month, like even before you even planned. You're gonna do it, man. Just put in the work and come report back to me every week, and you'll get there. So I had this sense of real accountability that I had never before, because I never told my parents, I never told my friends that I started this business. Like after they were the ones who, after they said the kind of thing were like, this is a scam, don't do it, I kept it extremely private. So I finally had people who I could talk to and kind of have some sense of accountability with. So that was huge for me. Literally the biggest, probably the turning point for me of actually starting to do work, and that work led to me signing clients. Those signing clients led to me hitting 10k a month, like a month and a half after I started doing work. So August is when that ebook was released, and then I started jumping those calls, and I started to do work. So August, and then in September, I think it was around 20 something of September, was the time I looked at my bank account from that month, and I saw 10k pounds sitting there. So I finally hit the goal, 10k a month. Well before my goal, which was to do it by my birthday in December. So life was good, I mean, I never really celebrated it, but at the same time, because I was extremely private and shy back then, but yeah, it was a big thing. And I started to be a bit more optimistic on life in general. So then I say around like a couple months after carrying on doing work, around November time, 𝐅𝐸𝐴𝐺 and I were getting quite close. We were talking about things, and then we were talking about, he went to Dubai at this time. I'd never been anywhere before. Like Glasgow and London were the two places I'd been. So I really wanted to go to Dubai, and he was saying, 𝐅𝐸𝐴𝐺 was saying, come to Dubai, man, spend that money that you've made on your life, rather than just sitting there worrying about investing or anything like that. So I was like, yes, I'm going to Dubai. Yeah, I really want to go to Dubai. So a solid 3-4 weeks of arguing with my parents non-stop to convince them to let me go to Dubai. It finally happened. It finally happened. So I went out, took my sister with me, and I managed to milk that for 2.5 months. So I kind of sat my parents down a kind of bit and kind of like told them that I was actually doing really well in my business, that I'm not, you know, doing anything dodgy. But I sat them down so they can understand I am actually, you know, my business is doing quite well. So this is why I want to be out here. And that period being in Dubai is probably the thing that I'm most grateful for. The amount that the severity of the change that happened within me during that period of time, the people I met, the person I changed into, my mindset was shifted completely because I was surrounded by these people. I was friends with these people who had amassed an immense amount of wealth, and they were doing so well in their businesses and their respective businesses and industries. They were at the kind of wealth that you would expect to be at when you're 30, 40, or what I'd expect to be at when I was that kind of age. But these guys were just only a few years older than me. They were like 20, 23, 24. Even one of my best friends is 19, who's like at the position where I'd want to be when I was like 40. So I was around these people who were making so much money, and they were just normal people. It wasn't just a case of, yeah, I want to be a millionaire. It was actually like, this is how I'm going to be a millionaire now. And also another big thing for me was my kind of social, I guess, the way I'd approach the social environment, the way I'd carry myself, the way I'd, you know, talk to people. Before I was a very awkward and shy guy, the kind of guy who just sat there in the corner, never talked to girls at all. Literally never talked to a girl before I went to Dubai, I'm being totally honest with you. So then after that, I came back home. During that time, just to give you kind of update and kind of what I was hitting with the agency, that's a kind of period where I hit 20k, yeah. I hit 20k while I was out there in Dubai a month. I was so excited for what the future held, all the friends I'd made, and the kind of roadmap that I had now to you know, make my first million at the age of 18 and 19. For example, like I'm now in London. Like, you might be wondering where I am. I'm in my London office. So yeah, that was around February. I came back, worked for around a month in Glasgow, and I'm now out in London, and I'm going to stay here for a couple of weeks more. So I'm now in London, living with one of my good friends in a penthouse in London, and that's kind of the journey so far. Kind of what the rest of the year has to offer is kind of just a lot of messing around and having fun. So we're planning to go to Bali, LA, Miami, Monaco, and then permanently moving to Dubai in September. That's kind of the plan for the rest of the year, and then from there, God knows what will happen. That's yet to be seen. So yeah, guys, that's kind of the story up to this point. I'm now in a position where I have a clear roadmap on how I want to hit my first million, all this kind of stuff, how I want to live my life. I'm extremely proud of the person I am now compared to the person I was before a year ago, and how much I've achieved, and the friends that I have, and the life that I'm now living. So yeah, guys, I hope you kind of enjoyed that bit of my story and my journey. To kind of give you guys a little bit of a couple of minutes just on kind of what this channel is. So this channel, the reason I started it is because I wanted to kind of document my journey for you guys. I know that it's especially for me back then when I started out my business, I would have loved to have somebody that's in my position to kind of make these videos for me, talking about, just giving my advice, kind of giving me motivation, just talking about their journey. So this is what I'm doing for the guys that are out there just now who are my age. It doesn't matter what age you are, to be honest, but I know there's a lot of people who message me who are my age, or 17, 15, 16, 19, 20, who really want to know what's happening in my life and kind of how I got to where I am. So I felt, why not just take the time and make these videos for you guys. I'm going to be sitting down. So a lot of my videos, I'm going to be talking about lifestyle, kind of talking about business in general, how to mindset, you know, just all this kind of advice and my perspective on life and different things, because obviously my perspective is quite rare. Being so young, with this amount of money, living this kind of life, it's quite rare, and I want people to learn from my mistakes and kind of learn from what I've learned. I have a lot of videos lined up for you, so click subscribe, like the video, and stay tuned. I'm going to be releasing like a couple of videos every week for you guys, and then I hope you really enjoy. So yeah, guys, that's it for today's video. It's gone quite long overdue. I've been wanting to make this video for a long time. Yeah, guys, like I said, subscribe, like the video, and then also follow me on Instagram. If you check my highlights on there, my Dubai and London, you'll see kind of the life that I was living. If you want to have a sneak peek, you can just go into there. But yeah, guys, have a great day. I'll talk to you soon.